People are sharing the creepiest unsolved mysteries that they can't stop thinking about. So I decided to look into the details of each one. Brandon Swanson's case always boggled my mind. The fact that he alerted his parents that he was lost and needed help. They were on the phone with him, heading toward him, only to hear his last moments. To know they were so close is so terrifying. Recently, Reddit user uRandomWeeb asked the people of r/Reddit to share the creepiest unsolved mystery that keeps them up at night. After reading through some of these, I will definitely not be sleeping soundly for the next couple of days. Here are the most bone-chilling cases. Warning: disturbing and graphic content ahead.
1. Brittany Shank. A young mother disappears after car crash. Brittany Nichols Shank was a loving mother of 4 who vanished in 2018. Before Brittany disappeared, she was in the midst of a stressful and turbulent time. She was seemingly in a rush to grow up and start living an adult life. At only 23 years old, she was a mother of 4 children, all of whom were no longer in her direct custody. The Hide and Seek podcast notes that Brittany signed over her parental rights and was actively working to remain a part of her children's lives. With this, she was reportedly also looking for a second job, actively trying to get and stay sober and remove individuals from her life that weren't in line with her best interest of sobriety. Brittany had been married a few times. This caused some intense controversy in the circle of people around her. During her first marriage, last name Persing, Brittany went as far as to post an image of her official marriage license on Facebook to prove to everyone that she was married. Many originally didn't believe her because of her past behavioral troubles. In the years leading up to Brittany's disappearance, they found it difficult to keep up with her at times on social media. At one point, she was running no less than 6 pages because she would start a new page every time a major life event happened. Brittany's relationships with some friends and family were less than ideal, and her romantic relationships were met with a similar fate. Unfortunately, Brittany went from one relationship to the next, making it difficult for law enforcement and her family to accurately create a list of the people in her circle. Historically, she dated men that would be categorized as bad boys. Both of her known husbands were arrested either for low-level violence at bars or something related to drugs. Despite her troubles with partners in her life, her friends and family still miss her terribly and hate to think that something bad happened to her. Brittany, I love you, and we all hope you come home safely. Jessica Rolfe, Brittany's mother, has shared with the media in a message to her daughter. And I'm going to find you no matter what. I promise. At the time of her disappearance, Brittany was expressing herself with edgy sense of style. Her hair was dyed red with shaved sides, and she has piercings in her tongue, nose, lip, and eyebrow. Her ears have gauged piercings. While some online reports note that her hair was dyed red with shaved sides, Hide and Seek details that Brittany dyed her hair blue-black the morning before she vanished. In terms of tattoos, Brittany has the name Caden on the right side of her upper chest, a large tribal butterfly on her lower back, the name Zach on her left wrist, the initials JCP in orange ink on the inside of her right wrist, a sugar skull on her right thigh, the name Owen Connor Spar running vertically down her right leg, and an additional tattoo on her hip. Brittany may be using the last name Wallace. It's also important to note that her previous married name is Persing. The day Brittany disappeared started off strangely. Earlier on the day of her disappearance, Shank was accompanied by a man in his early to mid-20s. He is described as 5'6" to 5'8" tall, with short blonde hair and mutton chop sideburns. It's unclear whether this man had any involvement in his case, but his presence has baffled investigators. The night Brittany vanished, the roads were dangerously foggy. Brittany had borrowed her boyfriend's car and was driving on the night of November 30th, 2018. However, when driving through the 33,000 block of Fawn River Road, she accidentally drove off the road in a single-car crash around 9:30 p.m. The dense fog surely disoriented this young driver. Witnesses say they saw Brittany walking from house to house in the area without a coat or shoes, acting confused and seeking help. Initial reports said that her feet appeared to be cut up, likely from walking through broken car glass in the accident, or even the rough gravel on the road. Cell phone records indicate she tried to call her grandmother and the police repeatedly, but the reception was so poor, her calls never connected. One resident that Brittany was able to get in touch with said that he quickly gave Brittany a green army jacket to stay warm, but when he turned around inside his residence to call the police, Brittany darted away. He also tried to call emergency services because had the same trouble getting cell signal. Eventually, he reached 911. When speaking to police, this witness indicated that Brittany was acting erratically. Renewed interest thanks to Hide and Seek podcast. James Basinger, the host of the Hide and Seek podcast, says he believes the Southwest Michigan community has let Brittany's case disappear from the media, and that their out-of-sight, out-of-mind approach has only hurt the case. James told listeners that within the depths of Brittany's case, there are countless red herrings. It isn't normal to have these many theories and suspects. So what's going on here? James asks listeners on his show. I'm going to take you guys back to the beginning. He hopes that his series will prompt someone to come forward with answers. Two. Angela Hammond. A young woman is abducted while calling her fiancé from a town payphone. Angela was a popular and outgoing 20-year-old looking forward to her unfolding life. Could her last phone call to her fiancé hold clues to her disappearance? Going by Angie instead of Angela, Angie Hammond was just beginning some of the most significant milestones in her life. She was a college freshman taking classes at Central Missouri State University and also working as a bank clerk. In November 1990, she began dating Rob Schaffner, the high school senior star athlete who was preparing for a career in the military. By all accounts, the two were absolutely smitten with each other. By January of 1991, Angie shares with Rob that she's pregnant, and Rob couldn't be more excited. Soon after, Rob gets down on one knee, and the pair are engaged. 4 months later, on April 4th, Angie and Rob attended a family barbecue hosted at Angie's mother's house. The pair left around 9 p.m., and Angie drove Rob over to his family's house so Rob could babysit his younger brother. Angie spent part of the night driving around town talking with a friend, and after she dropped her friend off at her house, Angie stopped at a payphone in the middle of town to call Rob at 11:15 p.m. While on the phone with Rob, Angie says that she sees a green truck that kept circling the block. The truck eventually pulled into the parking lot and parked right next to Angie and the payphones. The driver got out, and Angie told Rob that the male driver was dirty-looking and that he had a full mustache and beard. She also told Rob that the man had glasses on and was wearing overalls. Angie could also make out a decal that covered the back window of the truck, which depicted a scene of a fish jumping out of water. Not long after, Rob hears Angie scream into the phone. Terrified, Rob gets in his car and speeds over to the center of town to the payphone where Angie called from. While on his way there, Rob saw a green truck speeding past him going the other direction, and he heard a female voice scream, "Rob!" from inside the truck. Rob instantly spun his car around to chase after the truck, but in completing an intense reverse turnaround, he inadvertently damaged his transmission. Rob could only chase after the truck for 2 miles before a sharp right turn on W. Calvert Drive stalled his car. Angie was never seen again. Police believe Angie was most likely murdered. In the week of Angie's abduction, Rob was cleared of any suspicion by law enforcement, and a few local witnesses came forward saying they saw the green truck lurking around the town in the days leading up to April 4th. The subsequent investigation took detectives in many directions. Some speculate that Angie's abduction is related to 2 other young women who vanished in less than a 100-mile radius in the early months of 1991, Trudy Darby, and Cheryl Kenny. In 2021, the police held a press conference and unveiled another theory. The abductor from 1991 took the wrong Angela. It was revealed that in the town of Clinton, a man was working undercover for the narcotics team of the police department, and the man's cover was seemingly blown. A ransom note postmarked for the morning of April 4, 1991, the day Angie was taken, details another family's intentions to abduct their daughter Angela. Now, police are looking for the public's help to hopefully identify the suspect from 1991. They're also asking for whoever submitted an anonymous tip in early 2021 regarding the ransom note to come forward so the conversation can be furthered.